The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Hail to the king, baby.
Boy! The plan is, kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
Welcome to hell.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Welcome to prime time.
And we're live.
Moist.
Pubes.
So.
Oh, I was forgetting when Vincenzo Natali's the pube.
The pube. Well, good morning to yourself.
Gleaming the pube. Yeah.
Fluffing the moist pube.
Pubes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hi?
Happy Hanukkah.
Is it? No, it's not. That's inclusive. He nods and smiles. I haven't worked in a Jewish summer camp. I should know this stuff. It turns out I don't.
I don't know. I just said it because I wanted to be trendy.
Kwanzaa, that's the one I don't understand, or any of them for that matter. Anyway,
I'm not. No joke.
It's all right.
Welcome to the podcast in the backseat. Before we're
speaking of religion, horror.
Horror, yeah. No, there was one time when I was working in it was a store which shall remain nameless, I guess, because of what I'm about to say. A colleague of mine just looked at me as I was busy folding clothes. The question they asked was, "Are you Jewish?" I thought, you can't ask me that for a start. I said, "Well, I'm not, because I'm not." I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I don't know, fucking check, ma'am. I'm a Jew." You know what? You're right. Jesus Christ. It's like those people are like, David, and no, my name's not David. Are you sure? I'll check me under. Oh, yeah. It's been John all my life. Fucking hell.
I thought you meant to go and check your equipment downstairs.
My rat. I was listening back to our episode on on Lost Boys. And my poor naive.
Your rat out.
Yeah. my poor naive, stupid younger me. This woman kissed a rat. She's talking about that cock. So anyway.
I don't think rat refers to a man's bits. I think it's more of a lady's bits. Just when he said get your rat. Anyway, it's a clean show. It's not.
Hello.
Two good Christian boys like you and I.
No joke.
No joke?
No joke. I've been thrown out of church before for playing The Exorcist on the pipe organ. The priest.
Oh, you told me about this?
He was so mad, but it sounded amazing. So
there is a video, if anybody wishes to look it up, it's on YouTube where somebody plays the theme from The Exorcist on a full pipe organ. It is phenomenal.
Do you know what the pipe organ, a little factoid, the pipe organ is the only instrument that you capitalise the P and the O for organ, because it's technically king of the instruments. That's its title. It's a nightmare to play, yeah, because you press a key and you've got to wait about approximately 3 seconds, depending on how big the pipes are, before you hear anything. So if you fuck up, that really throws you off, because I'm quite fluent with piano. I mean, the only time I've ever played pipe organ was in that church and got thrown out. I was drunk. I wasn't. That's the sad part. I lied there. I'm sorry, guys.
Like my couple of not to get into it too much, but like sort of I'm never a huge fan of going to church and things like that. But one of the times I did go, I was in this sort of well-known organisation in the UK called the Boys Brigade, and it's very sort of like Christian-backed. You know, send your kids off for a couple of hours, get some reprieve for a bit. You wear a jumper with a little emblem on it. Actually sounds a little bit like a cult, and basically your colours change as you get older and older. Yeah, it definitely sounds like a cult. Anyway, so I was in the Boys Brigade, and we used to have to go to Remembrance Sunday every Sunday.
Jeez.
So I was then thinking, I'm going to take the Sunday off. I'm going to rewatch Rocky 4 again for the 900th time. Rewatch The Goonies, Monster Squad, Tremors, just whatever. I'm going to just take it easy on the Sunday. Oh no, it's Remembrance Sunday. I'm not being disparaging towards a particular day, but I fell asleep because I stayed up watching a load of movies the night beforehand and burnt my arm and melted my jumper off the boiling hot radiators in the church. And as everybody knows, they love turning them pews up.
Oh, aye.
Cook them, get them sleepy.
Send them to hell.
You go, oh, that's a terrible third-degree burn. Oh, what happened? We had a fight, you know. Was there a house fire? No. I had 40 winks in a church.
Just leave it at, I was at church. Oh shit.
The church.
Don't want to fuck with him.
Oh, I've got it as well. Everybody's got the same mark. It's like a BCG scar from having your immunisations in secondary school.
I had a fight with God and I came out looking like this.
I challenged the sun of God.
Oh god.
So you can tell that we're full of coffee and pith and vinegar. It's like pith. I eat pith them though.
Suffering succotash. I've just pissed myself.
I never knew succotash is just like it's a dish.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
I just thought it was like somebody just going up to like Tom Selleck and just sucking the foam from his upper lip. Succotash.
Selleck's just like, not a girl. Just throwing water on his hair.
Oh, what was it called?
Ha ha ha, babe, suck on my succotash.
Suck.
I don't know what Tom Selleck sounds like.
You know, he doesn't sound like Indiana Jones.
Uh-huh.
Controversial, is somebody say?
Where's my
Did
family?
You know because he turned down Indiana Jones for Magnum PI because he didn't want to ruin the production company's time because he would have to spend so much time. They would have to basically cancel Magnum PI, so he decided to stay to do that instead of doing Indiana Jones. And it would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Probably, obviously, we wouldn't know any better, but it would just be weird.
It worked out so well for him as well.
I know. What's that one where it's him and Gene Simmons and it's futuristic robots killing people?
I don't know. I've never even heard.
It's a real movie. I remember watching an episode of Community and talking about it.
Oh, what?
But it's him and the Gene Simmons. I think it's like a bad guy in it.
Oh, that's class.
That's gonna bug me. Tom Selleck. I think it's a horror film, but I don't think it's meant to be.
Yeah. Is it called Suffering Succotash?
Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna have to.
Gene Simmons uses his incredibly long tongue to lick Tom Selleck's moustache.
He sucked his tash.
Sucked his rat. I need to stop. It was a good episode.
It's called Runaway.
Oh.
It looks. I think I've watched it once before. It came out like Channel 5, like at 3:30 in the morning.
It looks like Space Magnum PI, to be fair.
It does. He does have a cracking tash.
Yeah.
I keep on bringing this to the thing that always blows my mind. 3 Men and a Baby was directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Was it?
Yeah. What you got? Oh, we've got Steve Guttenberg. We've got Ted Danson.
Yeah.
We've got that lady with the curly hair.
That's such a good impression of Leonard Nimoy.
And we've got.
That is a logical captain. I nearly did it a good one.
Hey boy.
Hey boy.
We're in the space. Hey.
Once upon far up the arse one.
Yeah, the guttering on the Enterprise is broken. The drainage is ruined. The currents.
Didn't be racist to me. I'm half human. Apparently.
He's got these pointy ears. So imagine, I'd love to see like a Geordie in space, or like somebody from Ballymene in space. So there's a lot of weird shit here. Hey,
you know,
that fella's got the blue skin. He's probably.
You know, I did a redub of it was Final Fantasy 15, and one of the characters in it, he's got like a South American accent in the actual dub. But you can play the game where you can remove all the text and remove all the dialogue, but it still plays out. It's very hard to get to your destination when you don't know where the fuck you're going. But I recorded 3 episodes and they're on YouTube at the moment. And one of the characters, that Dino character, I just didn't know what voice to do, so he was just broad Geordie. And I was watching it the other day and I was crying. Because he's just like, you some kind of bloody psychic Raji or something. And he goes on about how I used to date someone who was psychic. But as you can imagine, all she did was she would read my mind and she knew I was thinking about Frenching her mates and stealing money for scran. So I glassed her and left with a dog. It's just
she didn't see that coming.
No, it was class. But yeah, I left it at 3 episodes and I wish I'd done more, but I think that ship sailed. I've recently, I've been looking at those story generators you can find online. And it's like, name your character, Willy Bumhole. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I've been doing that for hours. So keep an eye on that. That might be something I record. But, so why are we here?
So who are we again? What am I? What's happening? Why is everything floating?
You're Leonard Nimoy. And
Leonard Nimoy, and he's
Jack Nicholson.
Jimmy Clam.
Jimmy Clam.
Yeah, so you got through to podcast in the backseat with your host
Matthew
William Alexander on Smooth. I don't know, keep on coming back to that on Smooth.
And Matthew Sugarcane Hutani from Londinium.
Wayland Hutani. So why we're here today, Mr. Hutton?
Yeah, today's a very, very special episode. Every fucking one of them.
As every episode.
It's a very, very special episode as we're reviewing the 1980 movie, The Changeling. I nearly mispronounced it for some reason. I'm trying to remember the director. I did write it down, but I've lost all my notes.
Peter Medak.
And it was Russell Hunter was the writer, wasn't it? Or the story,
yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he does in quotation marks like one of those annoying pricks, but being using it incorrect usage, true story, in the same way that all ghost stories and all mad stuff has happened. It was based on a true story as told by a guy called
Jesus Christ
Willy Bumhole.
Willy Bumhole and his mate Jimmy
Willy
Clem.
Bumhole used to spin this yarn next to a train yard about a ghost he's seen, but he also turned out he had severe cataracts and
like to lie about ghosts all the time.
and his wife who was leaving him was always wearing a floating white robe and was also in the Ku Klux Klan, so he said he saw ghosts
and learned how to levitate. But yeah, no, they always do. I think it's I don't know why, actually. It's very irritating. I think I watched was it Veronica? There's a movie called Veronica. It's an Italian film. I think it was on Netflix. But everybody was going on and on about it's a ghost film that's allegedly based on a true story. Everybody's going on and on. It's the scariest film you'll ever watch. As soon as somebody says that about film, immediately I'm going in like, right, shit, no, fake. And it was a good film, really. I'm sat there like an angry Geordie.
Was it any good? No.
Your film's alright though. Was it really bad? No.
I was thinking, I always kind of would flip between him and like Rodney Dangerfield. You're alright. You're a piece of shit, but you're alright.
But
I'm only jesting you.
The Changeling was a weird one because it was quite a long film for its time. So 1980. I say that because what we're bound to mention is another film came out in 1980, and that was also a long film.
We mentioned this before, and we never suggested we do this. And obviously, the reason why I kind of picked it and postponed it is because it's available on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Amazon pay us some delicious money. I'm not a petty man. I'm not a greedy man.
Just give me some money, you bastard.
Just fucking.
I'll suck your dick, man.
Like old Gil from The Simpsons.
I'm dying here.
You just scrap and steal just to get a lick of that sweet brass ring. Doesn't Gil get a lick? Doesn't Gil. Don't dump it at Jeff Bezos. Just give me some. It'd be nice. Just enough so I don't have to have a full-time job and I can just spend time talking about horror films with my friend.
I think it was
just touch it. Just touch it
with your mouth. Wasn't it? There was a show called Stuff with Alexis Sale, so he was one of the young ones.
He was.
He was class. He was funny as that. He did his own thing, and he always introduced it. So do you know in the young ones he had like a rant pretty much every episode. He does a rant at the start and end of each of his clip show, which is hilarious. And on one of them, he's like, I got to meet Prince Charles the other day. And I remember everybody's shaking his hand. And I shook his hand. I was really amiable about it. I went, hello, Prince Charles. You're at a good one, aren't you? And I was thinking what everybody else in the line was thinking. Give me some money, you bastard. You've got enough money. Come on. He's class.
Imagine really going the next time somebody asks you about Prince Charles. Give us 50 quid.
He would. He was class.
You know what it'll be? Be one of those 50 quid notes as well. It's a fucking nightmare.
Oh,
Shift those.
I know. Are those?
It's a Confederate money.
I know.
I'm just gonna spend these shekels.
We don't like your kind in here.
You're going, oh, I just want to get a Mars bar, and aye, mate, I've only got drachma. Is that alright?
Do you know when I was working at a different store, actually, somebody came in with one of the Scottish £100 notes, and it seemed to just freak everybody out because all they wanted was like a pair of underpants or something. There's a £100. It took two managers to look at it. They were like, "It's beautiful."
You've got £100.
You know.
What? Used to do pound notes in Scotland as well, didn't they?
They used to have them. Yeah, I remember there was someone when I had a.
They're making a
shop.
rain.
Yeah.
Making a rain in a midweek strip club. 4:30 on a Tuesday afternoon.
All you've spent is actually like £6.
You've got to make it hail. You've basically got to throw the equivalent of it.
You got to beam them right in the head, see if you can knock them out and take them home.
You got a shrapnel. You like just it's like a pipe bomb of just coins, just chucking it in some first Jack the Ripper's head.
It's like a farmer's shotgun with buckshot.
Buckshot.
Or Resident Evil, that one where she loads it with coins. She walks in, gonna make it rain today, bitches. You just leave.
It's just got like little tiny circular bruises on them, or little lines. Oh, she's popular. She's covered. So what were we talking about again? Oh, we're talking about 1980 horror film.
Horror.
Came out the same year as...
Dun, dun, dun.
The Shining. Her bastard. It was just basically any sort of top end action movie nowadays. And like, oh, we've got this guy doing the amazing soundtrack.
It's true. It's like
the Shannon.
The shit. It's like those shitty like horror trailers. Like the trailers are always hilarious. So in a world, ding. Who's ringing the bell? I'm trying to talk. Stop it. Ding.
So he's just sat on the synth.
Somebody riding a cruise ship.
Oh, he's had a load of beans last night.
So yeah, The Shining.
The Shining.
How unfortunate though! Like it come out in 1980. I think I mentioned to you. You've got poor Peter Maddock and Russell Hunter. They're like, our vision. It's finally come to fruition. Stanley Kubrick's on something else. It'll be fine. No one will remember him.
Fuck. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, we're bringing it the same year as The Shining.
Turns out it's one of the best films ever made, and we're not.
I know. Imagine that. So it's this is kind of the reason why I wanted to pick it. Like another horror film that came out in 1980. The Shining's American.
Yeah.
Changeling arguably is Canadian. I found out about it via reading this it's been going for years and years. I used to get a subscription to Rue Morgue.
Oh, nice.
And that was one of the ones that they wanted to concentrate on, was like Canadian horror. I thought I've seen posters for it. I know who George C. Scott is. I've heard of Peter Medak. I want to watch it, so watched it, and I think it's yeah. I'll not try and sort of jump into it too quickly, but yeah, it was just sort of I wanted to give it a go, and then thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate the poor bastards released it the same year as The Shining.
I know, like
it's like somebody going, I've made this top end sci-fi movie about dinosaurs. What year are you bringing it out? 93? Fuck.
I know. I'm doing this nautical terrifying journey that involves miniature piranhas. What year are you releasing it? Same year as Jaws? I was trying to remember the year. That's why I was stalling so much.
1975. I think Piranha came out afterwards, because the interesting one is Piranha came out as a piss take.
Yeah.
Almost of Jaws.
Yeah.
The original Piranha came out in 78, so 3 years afterwards. Directed by Joe Dante.
Yeah.
And basically just said, I'm going to make a film. It's going to be a little bit more sort of tongue-in-cheek, more funny, low budget. And like, this guy's done a film about you. Senior Spielberg. It's a piss take at Jaws, and he goes, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy, and then that's how he came to be the director of Gremlins.
God, that was
Steven Spielberg. Wasn't free.
Yeah, that was back when Spielberg had a funny bone, I guess.
I think he does. I think he still has a funny bone. It's, it's different. I think sort of. But yeah, I think it's weird because I think one of his first films is it called Jewel.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I've not seen
The
it.
trucker, and they kind of they remade it quite heavily. Not remade it. They kind of took the same idea. It's been done a couple of times. They did one with is it not Road Trip? What's the one that's got Fast and Furious Paul Walker in it?
I'm not sure.
Basically, the fuck with a trucker, and I think it's actually Buffalo Bill is the truck driver in that movie.
Do you know, I've not seen him an awful lot, and I was watching, it was Silence of the Lambs a little while back, and then out of nowhere I just thought, oh, Flubbers on Disney, put that on, and there he was. I was like, oh, hang on, Robin Williams is in trouble here.
He's going up against Buffalo Bill. He's going to skin Robert Williams, and then he's going to...
There's a patch on his people suit that's just got loads of hair on it.
Joyride, that's the film.
Joyride.
Basically, it's very, very similar, but instead of it being one person, it's three people. It's actually a really good approach to it. Yeah, it's much as sort of people maybe sort of have a go at it, but yeah, it's sort of, if you were going to try and remake one of his films, that would probably be the one that I would probably go for.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
like Jaws or something.
Bro, like this scary movie with sharks in it, with some sort of killer fish.
Yeah.
Me, bro, I need to say, fucking.
You'd be fucked like. I mean, looking at the Changelings reviews there, because I've just popped them up. IMDb gave it 7.2 out of 10, which is pretty good. Rotten Tomatoes give it 83, and for them, that's really good. I think it's one of those ones. It's sort of, it's unfortunate, but also then I like the fact that it's an underdog. Yeah, it's like a little secret that's just between you and anybody else who's seen it. Don't tell anybody. But
you'll get in trouble.
don't tell anyone about the movie, but tell everyone about this podcast, because we'd love more people to hear. Speaking of, if you do, drop us a message on our Instagram at Podcast in the Backseat. I say, sir.
Ashley.
Oh, you're quite good at that. God damn.
Ashley. Chicken hawk.
Rob Lowe.
I thought maybe he had like a stammer or like a mild stutter, but it just turns out that's kind of the colloquialism. Like, I know you didn't hear me the first time because of my accent. I'm going to repeat myself.
Because I talk gibberish, I better repeat myself as a whole.
Or maybe like a form like OCD, like the Colonel guy that's in The Simpsons. He's got like crippling OCD.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, based on a true story, filmed in Denver, Colorado. I know we'll go through some of the little factoids that we got about it before we jump into it a little bit too much. Canadian. Allegedly it's being remade.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what I was going to say, Joshua Pacey Jackson, who went to be on Fringe. He's been in loads of stuff. He was in Dawson's Creek, etc. He was in The Mighty Ducks. It was his first movie. He's the baby in the movie.
Shit, no way.
So it's technically his first starring role. He's a baby in the movie.
God.
And it stars George C. Scott, who is phenomenal.
Great actor.
He's because he did The Exorcist 3, which is a really good sequel. I think we might have touched on that a little bit from like the Odd One Out episode that we did previously. He was also in Patton, but he was also in Doctor Strangelove, which I would almost argue is a horror film.
Doctor Strangelove is every genre, weirdly. It's so good.
But yeah, he's not done a huge amount of horror. I tell if somebody's going to tell me otherwise.
And please do, if he did, on our Instagram, as mentioned before. But he's a great actor.
He did. But he played Ebenezer Scrooge, he played Fagin and Oliver Twist, so he's quite good at playing the villain. And then whenever he plays this one, he's very much the good guy in it.
Yeah. Did you want to break down roughly what the plot is as well, for those who may not have seen it? Or just need a reminder if you have seen it.
I'll read that out. As from the it's also good when I hear like that music from I think it's from our song on Radio 2.
Yeah.
I think I almost went into Jurassic Park there.
They do travel in herds.
I know. They're flocking this way. So in a world. After the death of his wife and his daughter, I don't know why I did that quite upbeat.
After the death of his wife and daughter.
His wife and daughter, Stan Marsh.
Stan Marsh.
Feels like he's gonna get it his way, but record skip, he's not. He has to realize he has to overcome his fears. No, it's not. So after the death of his wife and daughter in a car crash, I still did it to you, Boo. After the death of his wife and daughter in a car crash, a music professor staying in an old mansion is dragged into a decades-old mystery by an inexplicable presence in the mansion's attic. Straight away, I'm just going like, what is it with white folks and just moving into like, we've got this old house. What you've had a recent bereavement in the last 3 to 9 to 12 months. Move into a creepy old house. I know. Alston sort things out.
I'm not joking here. I'd be the first person to die in a horror film because that's exactly the type of house I want to live in.
What do you mean? What do you mean? The basement's chained and padlocked and nailed shut and painted shut?
Can't be for a good reason.
Bell swinging door. Yeah. And there's a load of crosses and pendants made from cat's teeth hanging off the door handle. And there's a corpse in there, and there's a pendant made from blood, and there's fur.
There's journals everywhere.
That goes near it dies.
Journals everywhere telling me not to go there.
The dog's always barking at that door, and the cat's always hissing at it. I sure will go down. It'll be a laugh.
I touched the door handle and my arm went numb. Let's see what's in here.
And now it seems to be I can only speak in ancient Aramaic. What's that all about? This old wifey turns up with a crooked finger, telling me don't go down into the basement. She will go down for a laugh. It'll be brilliant. It'll be brilliant, man.
My wife's died. Do you want to come down here, old crone, and do it?
Let's go smoke and do underage drinking and premarital sex in this basement. What's the worst that could happen?
Come on, Jason Voorhees, let's go.
Let's read from this book that's been fucking duct tape shut.
With barbed wire around it.
What the fuck? They're gonna go in a world where people have never seen horror films, let's move into an old creepy house.
Again, that's the sort of thing. That's exactly what I would do. I once found a book, I'm not even joking, a book that was wrapped in like 4 different plastic bags. I had to know what it was, and it turned out it was just like the Penguin book on how to jizz or something. I can't remember. It was something stupid. It was a footballer. Famous 5, I think, but I had to know.
The Dummy's Guide to Curses.
Yeah, it's the many ways you are going to die.
And it just foretells your truth, and the pages start writing themselves as you're speaking. Oh fuck!
It's every utterance you've ever said.
There's only 3 pages left. Boom. Embolism.
Oh god, I'm trying to remember the composer. His name, the main character was John Russell.
John Everyman.
John, yeah.
John Russell.
Tom Hugh.
Yeah. Tom Hugh Man. Hugh Jazz. The lady that was the co-lead in it, Trish Van Devere was actually George C. Scott's wife for a bit.
Wow, she was a really good actress in it as well. Like, surprisingly.
Yeah, and Jean Marsh, who plays the spoiler alert as it tells you in the synopsis, his dead wife. Mm-hmm. There's also Bav Morda from Willow. She's also in Bav Morda. She was also in Return to Oz.
Yeah.
She plays the Wicked Witch in like the almost what's her name? Sigourney Weaver, Ghostbusters, 1984, flowing gold dress where she can swap her head.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's in that. She's been in a bunch of other bits and pieces. But yeah, Jean Marsh.
That
terrifying.
I was gonna say that opening scene. Because I'd never seen it before. This was the very first time I ever saw it. So when you see them in the snow pushing their car, talking about next time we go to Hawaii, yeah, you're dead, aren't you? You're gonna fucking die.
Dead.
I can tell. And
it'll be that they go, next time we'll go.
Oh yeah, watch her die. But yeah, it was still kind of heartbreaking. But because I know the formula so well, I could tell straight away. The one thing I was surprised at actually, there is a semi sort of villain human character in it, but by mistake. Like, it's not his fault. You mentioned the baby already, so. I did not expect that. That was a twist that actually got me completely, because I just saw the politician come out and do his speech, and I thought, well, there's obviously, I don't know, some sort of vote or something going on.
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Oh wait, no, it's actually insanely relevant to the story.
It was a Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, yeah, it was really...
It's exactly that one going, there's a reason why you're showing this person, because it's going to pay off later on.
Yeah.
I hate those films that, it depends on how cleverly they do it. They can get one with Chekhov. So anybody who's listening that doesn't know what Chekhov's gun, the best way I can describe it is in, say, Shaun of the Dead, above the bar is called there's
Winchester.
A gun.
Yeah.
The Winchester.
Yeah.
Plays on that trope really, really well, that if they reference it, more than likely it's going to pay off later on in the movie.
Yeah.
I like movies that kind of subvert that.
Like Shaun of
If
the
it's
Dead.
done cleverly. Yeah, well, obviously they still use the gun. There's one where they subvert the genre where like, we'll not use that. Oh fuck, we can't get in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a dud. It's only yes. It's just a demonstration. It's not an actual real gun. Fuck.
Or it backfires in their face or something.
You're gonna have to stove these zombies to death with this replica rifle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. So if you see something in the movie later on, more than likely it's gonna pay off.
Because I thought that was just world building as well. I thought that was really good. I thought the only antagonists were just going to be the ghosts. So I didn't expect. Yeah, I didn't expect anything like that, and I was well impressed with it. So well done to them. Like it's not quite, again, shining quality, but nothing is. But it.
It's so. And nobody can tell you otherwise. Stanley Kubrick was fucking shit.
Yeah.
So like he spent ages. Like the researchers had to go up and stay at that hotel for fucking ages, mapping everything out before he turns up. And he did his research. He did a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So what I was going to say, Casar and Vajna, Mario Casar and I think it's something Vajna produced the movie. Who went on to do, I think it's Terminator 2. I think they did Aliens or a couple of other ones, but whenever you see that name or that font, I'm immediately transported. I think they did Predator as well. I think they did T2, Predator. I think they did a couple of other movies. I think they might have done Total Recall.
Oh, sweet.
I think they did a lot of Arnie movies.
Yeah.
But this is obviously well before that happened. First Blood, Total Recall. I think they did Repossessed.
Oh, I love that movie.
Did Repossessed.
Yeah.
So they're the producers of Repossessed. And the only other factoid I had for it was the entire front of the house is a facade. It's a very expensive facade that they put in front of this house because they couldn't find a house to fit the bill.
Yeah.
So I think they spent like $20,000 just putting this fake, almost Victorian frontage to the front of the house, which works to great effect.
It looks so
whenever
real.
you go in the house, whenever you get into the house, it doesn't seem as though that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Which is very, very clever.
That's what I hate. There's one example, and the one thing, right, a little tirade here. So the Nightmare series is great for Nancy's house in the first one. Never changes because the protagonist more often than not either lives in her old house or they end up going to that house in a Nightmare from Freddy. And the format's always the same. The stairs are right in front of the door. They can go around it. They can go up the stairs or in the basement. They always do. And it always stays the same through all the movies. Halloween, on the other hand, the original Myers house was just this normal looking house. By part 5, it's this grand, massive looking mansion thing that when you go in, it makes no logical sense. There's like a little bit that sticks out at the side that's on the right when it should be on the left. It's like, oh man. Then I'm the type of bastard who notices that sort of shit.
Is it not like the same thing like from Home Alone where he's got the he's got to slide out the front door?
Yeah.
And you know full well that sledge does not line up with that front door.
Exactly.
Imagine, that's how short the movie was.
He crashes.
Kills
EMTs,
himself. Paramedics call it severe neck trauma.
That's true.
Remember I called Macaulay Culkin's deed, and the paramedics just called to the front door and like. What are you laughing at?
We have Nancy's mum like tripping all those traps, but this time
she's getting her face stoved in.
Home Alone. Oh god, we should write a movie. We need to write a movie. Home Alone. He fucking kills himself with his own traps or through the sled. Oh,
he does it all once he's pissed, and then he wakes up the next morning blackout drunk and he's going, "Just gonna open this door." Oh fuck! That no nose end up looking like Voldemort, or like one of those Pokemon in Persian cats with a short frying pan face on them.
The end of the movie, his mother turns. He's like, Kevin turns around. He's like half skeletal on the face. Mother. He's gone insane. He just eats her face.
Why did you leave me, mother?
Anyway. Oh god.
So yeah, should we get into sort of talking about the movie? So what was your initial impression of the movie, aside from what we've touched on already?
Yeah, it's one of those things I'd never heard of it at all. Like, I saw the name pop up a few times on Amazon, and I'd never looked at when it was made. I thought it was actually a recent film. I thought it was just going to be, because I expected it was going to be a ghost movie to a degree. And it's weird, actually, for us. We've done a few episodes now. I think this is episode 20, and
review number 8.
Yeah,
number 8. Number 8. You know, I've reference to The Simpsons whenever basically the Yoko Ono character comes in and destroys the B sharps.
Oh yeah, and
I'll have an apple floating, a plum floating in perfume served in a man's hat, and then Mo just produces it.
No. But I was actually surprised that we'd never done a ghost story before. Like, it was quite odd.
Pure ghosts and that.
Exactly, yeah.
Have we not? I'm trying to think back to the ones we don't know. No ghosts.
I'm just thinking as well, yeah, because we did Nightmare. I'm just quick checking there as well. But no, this is the first ghost story, and I was quite impressed, because with horror you kind of jump immediately to ghosts. You think, oh, I don't know, like Amityville or that sort of shit. But this one, it didn't seem to fit the format, and the format was established well before 1980 even. So I was quite impressed. It surprised me multiple times when I'm watching it. One, that it was actually a good film, because I thought it was just going to be your every sort of, because ghost stories tend to turn me off straight away unless it's a film made in Asia, because they seem to do it really well.
They do. It's so different as to what our expectations are, and I think that's really sort of what you kind of want, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want the expected. I want something different.
Yeah. When someone's looking in a mirror, they're washing their face, they go down, the camera follows them, they pan back up, you know there's going to be a jump scare behind them. None of that.
Or like they always close the medicine cabinet. It's always the fucking medicine cabinet. You just, a little flash of the medication they're on because they're going through a hard time, which is entirely fine. And they close it, you know full well. It's either going to be a kid there going, "Hi mom, have a Subic powder and coke," and you're going, "Fuck, it's not even 8 o'clock in the morning." Let mommy take her medication, have a cup of coffee, and go off and just fucking play with the traffic for a bit, and I'll come back later on. But yeah, that's the sort of thing you would kind of expect with the close of medicine cabinet with somebody there.
You mentioned that Stoic Pounder thing again. Anyone who's been following this religiously, you might not know yet, because the episodes haven't been technically released yet, but they have when you listen to this, so that's a head fuck for you. But anyway, I've put a little stinger at the end of each episode, which is, "Hey mom, can I have a Stoic Pounder and a Coke?" That is so hard to get hold of, that little snippet. It is nowhere on YouTube or anywhere to just rip. I had to literally, this is a little bit of background info on how we operate. I had to put the DVD in and record it live. It's just mental. But it sounds pretty good, so I'm glad of that.
That's good. Okay, so we don't have to do that every time.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's one of those ones that it's sort of, I wanted to watch it because they told me about it in that magazine I told you before, Henry Morgue. I thought I'll give it a go, I'll chuck it on, see what it's like, and thoroughly enjoyed it, because like you said, it doesn't follow the normal tropes. There is a lot of tropes that are in there, but it doesn't fit the normal ghost story.
Exactly.
I think one of the things that kind of threw me is it doesn't all entirely take place within the house, which is normally what happens.
Yeah, I was
there's other bits and pieces that happen outside of the house, which I thought was really, really cool. Should we go and sort of like talking about sort of the stances and stuff? I don't want to sort of stick to it too much.
Yeah. Because
I think it was more of a feeling and sort of jumping off points for me as to what kind of happened. So sound. What did you think of the sound?
I think it used it really well, to be fair, but especially with the because there was that pounding as well, which was very diegetic and used to full effect. And that was really curious as well. So you're watching it, you're thinking, why is that a thing? That was my main pick up, obviously, as well. The dude's a composer. Yeah, which I thought was quite cool. Because sort of he would be aware of that kind of stuff as well, wouldn't he? But sort of like not just poor fucker moving into a house full of loads of acoustics and going,
oh, these acoustics are amazing. Oh shit, the acoustics are amazing because everything just reverberates through the house. Fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. And well, he even plays back quite a lot as well, doesn't he? Because he records himself for what I imagine is
the children.
Yeah, I guess so. So because he's teaching as well, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because that was one of the things that I think the opening was quite good as far as like the sound and stuff. Because it's almost like a wind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering how much of that was because of how vast it was as well, like the place he was.
But yeah, it's so vast and cold. Yeah, it's another one per fucker. It starts off somewhere cold, and obviously the opening of The Shining is incredibly cold. It's not initially, then gets very cold, and then everybody's fucked.
Yeah, actually, that's a subvert. I mean, it wouldn't be on purpose because obviously they came out at the same year. So the Shining begins sort of normal and then gets cold, where that began really cold and
it gets wet.
Yeah, kind of gets moist.
Gets moist. Yeah, I think the only thing as far as like sound concerned that kind of jumped out for me is like the opening sort of. There's no real music until after the horrific event happens.
Is there not?
Yeah, it's all just like the cold wind, and then I think the music cuts to whenever they show the title of the movie, and he's back in town. He's a graven man that loves smoking tabs, loves smoking cigarettes, doesn't he?
So
and wearing tweed and wearing itchy tweed.
So,
fuck. Sit watching it, just going, Jesus.
No, there's just too much tweed.
He's never alone because he's constantly getting like, the little fibres are just going at him. Oh. Children's laughter as well. I thought that the music was quite kind of minimal.
It was weirdly for a film whose lead was a composer. You expect, and there was some. So obviously the music that does occur is very melodic, but very piano-y. I don't know, that's not a word.
Playing the piano.
The piano.
Not the piano. I don't play the piano. I play the piano.
I play the piano. That's what Jimmy Clem plays.
Jimmy Clem would be.
I play the piano. Which is a string instrument, by the way. People seem to get that wrong. I'm not a snob, exactly. I promise.
But he is. He's a horrible snob. He knows his F sharps and his.
Well, I do,
It's arpeggios. I know that one because I used to play guitar.
Mind, I was a bit of a savant, I guess, when it came to music because I could play piano. I always grew up with one. I think I mentioned, and if I hear a tune, I'll just.
It was his only friend.
Yeah, it was for a while. But
Me
I
and
could
Casio.
Just play. That was my girlfriend. No, I could play any tune after hearing it, and I can still probably do it. I've not played piano in a while, and it used to wind up my music teacher because when it came to the actual terms, like Allegro, I have no idea. I didn't care, and I referred to it once.
One of these.
Yeah, I used to. And this is horrible. This was me just being a little snob as a kid. Even she was like, "Well, why is it that practically you can do the music really well, but when it comes to the theory, you seem to just be phoning it in?" I said, "Because it's just pseudoscience." And she got so mad because it was clearly her life. But I was a punk as well, so I was just trying to be a little twat, I think.
So counterculture and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Fuck the police.
I'm not going to do it. This test is too hard. You just stood up to me. That was the test. Yeah. That's
one of my favourite jokes I do in Family Guy. Just class. This is what I think of your test.
It's too hard.
You stood up to me.
That's it. It's Kenny Loggins always as well, isn't it?
Aye. But yeah, that was that rant. I'm sorry.
That's fine. The music in it reminded me of like the Hulk.
Yes.
And Evil Dead 2. It's like they're going David Banner, not Bruce Banner. David Banner. No, it's definitely David Banner.
David Banner.
David Banner.
We explored why as well in an earlier episode, so I'm not being funny here. It's because they thought Bruce was too homosexual. It's not, and they're crazy. But that just shows you what producers are like. But anyway. But yeah, no, again, that actually.
If you think about it as well, it's quite funny that you mention that because that somebody could say like, "Oh, this man wants to hide this aspect of his personality, and he doesn't want to show it to anybody else." And I'm going,
the raging beast within him. Yeah, a good point, eh? Oh,
he rips his clothes off and something like that. Yeah, it's quite funny. I've never thought of it that way until now.
And he keeps throwing men down. I've noticed he never does it to a woman. He doesn't throw a punch.
Does it to women, yeah.
He throws them down so their anus is in the air. Just saying. Just saying.
And
Oh,
purple
imagine
jeans.
that.
It's always purple jeans. That's
Yeah.
it. I'm just going immediately. Brilliant.
What are you doing, Hulk? Do, Hulk love. He doesn't speak. Primal rage. Boner.
So, David Banner. But yeah, this made me think of the music and the other bits and pieces that I kind of thought was like the protagonist.
Yeah.
His music starts off quite hopeful.
Oh, that's a good
Initially,
point. Yeah.
it's quite sort of like melancholic, but also a little bit hopeful, and then that kind of changes throughout the course of it as the sort of music sort of descends into more and more madness.
That's actually, I didn't even pick up on that, but you're right, because towards the end, it's really sort of bleak.
Yeah, it starts off like keyboard, and then I think it sort of edges into synth towards later on in the movie, which I think is quite cool because like synth was obviously huge in like the 70s and 80s.
Thanks, Carpenter.
Yeah,
You beautiful man.
You're beautiful man. I love him. Don't ever leave me. What about the visuals then? Should we jump into the visuals, the stuff you could see with thine eyes?
Thine eyes. You know,
Thine
can
eyes.
do. To be honest, it's one of those films. It doesn't play with colour an awful lot, but it does to a degree because its lack of colour adds to its bleakness. And it's meant because it begins really bright. Obviously, they're in the snow. They're having a bit of a laugh. It's like a catalogue holiday. It's like me and my wife and daughter. My wife's 30 years younger than me, by the way. And my daughter's only
she was
20 years younger.
Go on. It's George C. Scott, he's quite a bit older than his wife. And that's not or maybe I think people just age differently back then, didn't it?
Apparently,
he's like probably the same age as me. At the ripe old age of 35.
That's what cigarettes do to you. They just add years.
There was no warnings on packets.
Wasn't it Bill Hicks? He was just like, they started putting warnings on. This was in the 90s on cigarette packets. One of them was gives low birth count. Well, shit, found my brand. Just don't get the ones that say cancer. You'll be fine. Anyway,
so visuals, like it was like little bits and pieces. Obviously, there's like it's never good when there's a tracking shot.
Yeah.
Or like the camera juts back and forth between like people playing in the snow
and a truck.
Two trucks. High shot looking down. It's never a good sign when the car is tracking up towards a creepy old house owned by the Historical Society.
One thing I don't get is when he's having a wonderful chat about how his car's being broken down in that phone booth. He sees that truck miles before it gets to them. And he's like, he's just too polite to hang up. He's like, I've got to go. Oh no, I really need to go.
It's okay. I can still continue to talk. Oh yeah.
Oh, we've got ages.
To shreds, you say? Yes.
To shreds, you say?
I'm just gonna. Yes, all dead. And the truck driver, no, he's fine. He was in a big truck. My daughter and my wife, not.
They're dead. My car's still broken down though, so if you can send someone else.
Yes, I'm on the AAA, or as they would have over in America, the AA. But yeah, both dead. Yes, I can continue. You know what? I kind of had this like super cut in my head where he's like stuck in this phone booth in the middle of fucking nowhere. Oh my god, I can't seem to work doors. I can't get it. I seem to be trapped in this glass case of emotion.
That reminded me of Birdemic with a car key.
Yeah. Part of me kind of wanted him to like do the little button presses from like Bill and Ted, and then he just travels back in time to the same spot and then saves his wife and child.
If only. Sorry, George. No. Scott.
George C. Scott and George Carlin. I think we're going to go into this creepy old internal house.
Yeah, the house itself visually is really good, and it's quite nice that you mentioned that it was just made as like a front for it, which is awesome. That's what I wanted to mention before, but got on a tirade again. It fits, so they've made the front of the house look really creepy, but the inside matches what the outside looks. So the attention to detail was very good. there's a lot of very dark, darkness in it, I suppose. But yeah, there's some very dark like wallpapers and things with weird classical patterns, just to add to that sort of melancholic aesthetic, I suppose.
Yeah, there's other bits and pieces, like there's like other sort of visuals. You've got the old cleaners.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got the old lady's been wiping the same table for 35 years for the historical
She's not
society.
moved at all. There's shit everywhere.
She's been wiping this table. She's been wiping this table, man and boy.
But there's a bit as well where John Russell, the main character, sat there just after the nasty bit at the start, talking to his friends, and then their children come in and start playing around, and you can see that he's pining. He's looking like, oh, I had a child once. And then the first thing they say is, you should stay here. Say, oh, I rub it in. You can see he's looking at your kids like, I miss my child. And you're like, you should stay here.
See the way I've got kids in that.
And you don't. Do you want to look after them? You better not. You'll have them killed.
The car will break down where you don't have a car.
You don't have a wife either way. Yeah. I'm this guy's wife. Fuck you.
No. Other bits and pieces.
Do you want my wife and child? Can I have them? Can I? No. Just
they're mine.
Why would people be so fucking cruel?
Fucking horrible. Other visual things that I saw, I was like change from like dusty and old to then like clean and warm. Whenever he sort of moves into the house, so it's a change of his kind of mental state. So a lot of slow shots.
Yeah.
Tracking into the room.
There's a lot of flashbacks. A lot of the same flashback, but they're used well. Like ordinarily, it's really irritating when you get the same flashbacks over and over again. But on this one, every time you see the same flashback of, again, this is a review, so there will be spoilers, of the boy drowning, you see something different each time. So,
yes, it's sort of revealing more of the picture and more of the. So you initially you sort of see just a little bit of the flashback, and it'll just be maybe like a kicking leg and like a one of them tubs that they used to use back in those days, back in them days. And then it reveals more and more of the picture, and you go,
yeah, and
Jacques,
Poirot, and each time
Poirot.
And each time you see it as well, you feel as though this is the last time you know the full story, when actually you don't. There's more. No.
Come here. There's more. Yeah. But yeah.
It's brutal as well. Like child murder in horror was quite a rare thing, especially in the 80s even, which this was. So to see that was actually really quite surprising. Mm-hmm. Not that, I was like, oh yes, a kid gets drowned. It was just kind
of... Not really. Because this is a work of fiction.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Allegedly based on a true story. So anybody listening, sitting there going, drown him, what's that? We've probably mentioned it in a previous episode. Too much month at the end of the money.
Drown your kids.
And it's 1909. You could probably get away with it. It's probably like a small fine. It's about true fitty to get away with it.
True fitty. No, I was quite surprised as well, and I don't know why, because basic maths would have told me. But when they're talking about, because the villain character, he didn't do anything, but he's technically the villain character. Mm-hmm. His dad was the murderer, and he did the murdering at the turn of the century, which was like 1901 or whatever it was. And for some reason, it was just like, God, this isn't a period. Wait a minute. I'm old, and also this movie's old. Shit. So that was a realisation, and then I found a grey hair. The police got involved because I went on a massacre. So good night.
You kind of had to. Imagine if this is what you cataloguing your it was basically, this is how it's like, so like Frost Nixon, and I'm basically trick you into admitting to a series of child murders.
I'm a nice man, really. I just killed that boy.
Did you kill her? Oh yeah, I did. Fuck. Fuck you, Columbo.
Poirot.
And just one more thing. As I smoke from a pipe and twiddle my moustache.
Put your rat away, sir.
But he whipped out his rat. It had a knife on the end of it. I don't know. I went into 7 there for some reason.
Le penetration.
And then he made me fucker.
and I liked it.
So like, and I liked it.
And then I fucked that fat guy as well on the bed. He didn't ask me to do it. I just had a boner, you know.
I'd love for it to continue going. I've got a really strange boner right now.
That boner needs an explanation.
It's proper shiny in that. Imagine, I would love to take that to an episode of Antiques Roadshow. And it's just clearly like a chastity belt with a big fucking big knife on it.
How much is it worth?
Yes, was it big 'em away toys? I've been taking them away. So what have you going? These dogs look really mad. I've been starving them, teasing them. Speaking of Keith, me mama. Go sweat like a pig here. He starts wiping himself off. Go kill him! Ah!
Chief Wiggum's class.
He's brilliant. What bits and pieces, like visually, I don't know whether it's intentional or whether even somebody did it before. William Friedkin did it for The Exorcist. There's a bit where like ramps up the tension and then cuts to like something quite sort of like not jarring, but like something's ramping up the tension that cuts back to kind of real life. Yeah, it's a bit where like it's getting sort of quite tense with the banging at midnight, and all of a sudden it cuts to some sort of cotillion. Some sort of political party thing where everybody's always standing on some grand staircase with some red velvet carpet on it. It's got like some sort of dirty martini, which has got like 19 units of alcohol, and people are smoking unfiltered tabs. Going, yes. So we are sent away.
We are the good old days. Good old days.
Tweed, you're wearing tweed, are you? Oh, tweed's great, isn't it?
I love tweed. I love having a rash and wanting to kill everyone all the time. Yeah.
Taking your clothes down to an old stream and bashing them up against a wet rock. So it came 7 years after The Exorcist, I believe.
Yeah.
It's 70. Is that true? It's 73. Fucking hell, if that's the case.
I thought it was a bit later than that, made you. Damn.
Yeah. So 73. This came out 80. The other sort of visual bits was like sort of the house kind of reflects the man's inner plight. A little bit of insight there, or at least maybe there's an insight I put in there that probably doesn't exist, but sort of like the issues that were with the house sort of reflected his own inner plight, his own demons. And then the midnight clock, it's always that one where it's always the clock, there's always a reason, so I go on midnight. When shit gets real after dark.
Do you know, in ghost stories, it's become an incredibly common thing, and it isn't in this, as you mentioned, it was midnight. 3:15 always seems to be, and in real life as well, with me writing for Psychic World, I've had
because it's always like all the things going to the right, isn't it?
Do you know what it honestly is as well? Because it's usually a digital clock they're talking about. What it honestly is, and it's just this house fucking shows you how ingrained films can be in people. So every time somebody says, when I'm interviewing them for the papers, and I'm sorry if you're listening because you're all liars, I saw a ghost at 3:15 or I was possessed at 3:15, you're lying. The only reason that you think that is because 3:15 was the time in Amityville. So the Amityville story, William Dafoe killed his family at 3:15, or started to kill his family at 3:15, and then
how long did it take?
Apparently it was about 15 minutes. he just went on.
You'd be shattered, wouldn't you?
I know. He went on a massive rampage, and then the Lutz family moved in a year later. Everything that happened was 3:15. So that's the only reason you're saying it. You don't know that. You didn't know I was a film buff, you cunt. So I know you're lying.
Was it exactly 3:15? What time did you kill her wife and kids at 3:15?
But yeah, that's a little thing. If you ever want to lie about seeing a ghost, just don't say it's
at 3. It's at 10 to 4 or 3:50.
3:50.
I kill her about 3:50.
It was that goddamn Loch Ness monster told me to do it. But no,
okay, Mr. Lutz or Mr. whatever, Mr. Defoe. Yes, you said it was the Loch Ness monster that told you to kill your wife again. Oh, he did. He did. See, I tell you, he told me to kill her. See, yeah.
But yeah, visually, the other thing I noticed was there's a lot of reaction shots and close-ups. So there's a lot of times where he's looking at something and it's a very close-up, so it's head and shoulder at best, maybe just face. and then it cuts to what he's looking at, which is usually the door, the chained up door, or the tape recorder, or the piano, or his hands. So there's a lot. It's a bit like Halloween in as much as Carpenter really brought to fruition the point of view shot. It was like point of view shot before point of view, weirdly. So you're constantly seeing his reactions as well. That's how I play
hands.
piano.
What do I do with my hands? What do I do with my hands? My hands, my beautiful hands.
My ass, my
Manos.
beautiful ass.
Beautiful hands. Other bits and still like shape and shadows used really, really cleverly as well.
Yeah.
Within the confines of the movie. What about smell and taste and touch? I don't know why I always go like almost like Peter Lind. And, like I develop a mild lisp towards the end of it. Going smell and taste.
Smell. Taste.
I like the smell. Oh, the texture. So
It feels good upon my butt cheek anyway. Yeah.
Me feel good.
Oh god. Poor Miss Berry.
Monsters balls.
Monsters testicles. Yeah, they all just kind of roll into one, which is a weird one, and they work quite well. So with the unfiltered cigars, cigarettes, and all that wine and things, during that point, I got a lot of feeling of, I don't know, because I've been in that sort of situation before. So it brought me back to being in a sort of, not an actual cotillion or anything like that, but when you're there and you're pretending that everything you're doing and saying is so classy, when everybody's making dick jokes to the small groups that they're in, it's like, oh, cock bends to the left, doing a why, like, have another cigar, Harry.
Just everybody's just heads just fucking swimming. I reckon back then people were smoking loads of cigars, smoking loads of pipes, drinking heavily. Yeah. I reckon they're just off the nut. They just think their brain's starved of oxygen. They just stumble. I saw a ghost.
Yes.
It's just a guy's wife in a robe or something. Or some kids running about with like a t-shirt and a pair of boxers and go, oh, look like a child. And just putting it off, completely just out of it.
Just off his face.
I mean, everybody's just sitting huffing ether, for shits and giggles.
They weren't huffing that, and I wasn't huffing that ether. Am I right? I'm sorry.
I think sort of like smell, taste, texture. Like, he gets a lot of tobacco. He loves sparking up a tab to almost punctuate a sentence. Yeah, so 3 months ago. Yeah, right. Oh, yes. All dead.
Right, need another one.
Like the smell, I can almost smell like the recording tape, because he records quite a lot of his music, and then he's recording the parapsychologist that turns up, and she's doing that whole transcendental drawn.
I almost forgot about that bit, because that's a trope almost now.
Yeah, I was going to mention the tropes a little bit. It's a lot of foisty wool. I can just smell the damp.
Oh,
like, the itchy. I'm just going, oh jeez, what the fuck, he's wearing tweed. Fuck me. And then the other bits and pieces I could pick up on, like the smell of like the microfilm. Have you got the microfilm? And I think that's something that's used very, very well.
Yeah. In
older horror movies, and going, oh, we've got the old newspaper clippings.
Yeah.
Just something cool about that. Just because I went to my old library as a kid, and like looking at old articles and stuff like that, just being able to zoom in.
Oh, it was class.
It's an amazing bit of like information archive for all time, just as little. Just rolling down through.
I love those scenes in movies for some reason. Like they do it in Ghostbusters and that as well, and that's kind of really awesome. But it's gone now with the internet. Bastards.
Damn internet.
God.
Yeah, the only other kind of texture or taste, again, a lot of chest infections. I can just feel a lot of chest infections going on. I just get a chest infection watching people.
A lot of mucus and grim.
Grimming and hanging about in the damp and the cold.
Yeah.
Not looking after yourself. I didn't see anybody eat a single vegetable the whole time I was there.
No.
But yeah, that's sort of the way I took away from it. But a lot of like varnish as well, like old varnish, and dust, and like old film.
God, you're right.
Old books.
It tastes, it all the other senses, it's kind of like musky and really kind of raw, but it still has this elegance about it. Like, I think the visuals and the sound kind of subvert the rest of the senses a little bit. So you're thinking, oh, what a classy bastard, but he probably can't breathe. He sat there in a damp old fucking rundown manor smoking 20 cigarettes a second.
Yeah, he's just chain smoking. And then you've got stuff like, I'm trying to think of what other stuff that he kind of did as well. Yeah, there's a lot of like, oh yeah, we'll just go up into the attic where they keep the asbestos in the movie. Any kind of sort of like thoughts aside from the senses that you sort of took away from it? Any kind of trope alerts? I know we mentioned a couple before.
Honestly, you reminded me because I completely forgot. With that being such a trope, it's almost expected. But at the time in 1980, I don't think it would have been. I think it's not the first. It's definitely not the first, but it's one of to have that sort of medium in there, especially in the trance-like scenario. The medium will tend to go in and be a bit like the creepy one out of Poltergeist, because she doesn't really go in a trance.
It's clear.
And when they're whispering, that scene drives me mad. I hate that. And when I edit this, I'm going to kill myself. Yeah, I wish. Caroline is in the attic. She's eating your cheese whiz.
Is he kind of going, why? Is he go, why don't they speak with perfect diction?
I hate it. It just.
I'm a ghost, you know. I'll haunt you good.
Ooga booga. Sorry about the accent. God.
Other kind of so there's always like the grieving older father.
Yeah. And a dark and stormy night.
Moving into a gate old building.
Yeah.
Like a little occasional reprieves from the house where it cuts to like that sort of political party type thing to the quote unquote real world. The auto writing as well. The medium is always a fucking Brit. Why are they always British?
Yeah. I must think that we just see ghosts.
And the bit where he just cuts to him horse riding, the little reprieves, and just going, we've got this, so ramp up a bit of tension. Hey, you know the way you miss your kids and your wife that get killed in an accident, where you could have entirely have prevented it.
Horses.
It's getting horses, and then you just see him walking almost like some sort of like old catalogue for some sort of like men's aftershave. There was one by Charles Bronson called Mandem. You're just walking through the fields, just wearing like the most inappropriate like sort of clothing for riding a horse, always with a turtleneck as well. Just galloping through the fields. Horses. You know who else like horses? My mom. No, my wife and daughter. And how are they both dead?
And Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves.
That's twice now.
Hey, you know what? He was a Superman.
Oh, he was.
He was. It's always the one as well. The other tropes that are going, get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's like sort of like Amityville, Poltergeist, so they're going, right, so the house is talking to you, or this weird shit. Get out of the house. You don't get that with new builds. You don't get them going, we've just moved to this brand new house to help to buy scheme 25.
It'd be worse if it was the other way around and your house was like, stay here forever. Oh fuck no.
Forever. And you know what? I think we're gonna leave. Right. I was just talking to us. And right, okay.
An Indian burial ground, you say.
Imagine Amityville Horror and just the plumber turns up or the gas engineer and go, it just turns out you've got a leaky pipe. You've all been inhaling carbon monoxide. Brilliant, there we go, sorted. And then the movie, the credits roll 30 minutes in, and the house is talking to us. Kill everybody in the house. But yeah,
all the pipes line up perfectly, so if wind goes through it, it just sounds like somebody going, get out of the house.
All you need to do is put some of that foam lagging on the outside that stops it rattling through the pipes.
Get out of the house.
That
is another thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other bits and pieces. He starts dismantling the house and his own mind.
Oh.
Open your mind.
Start the reactor.
You start to put your hand in a weird shape that almost turns out it's exactly the same as an alien. Bouncing balls, simple and effective tool. Creepy cobwebs.
Yeah, that was a
wheelchair.
Thing. There's also
creepy wheelchair.
That was the thing with the ball as well, because at one point he gets really sad when he's looking at this ball. Like that was her favourite toy. If that was her favourite toy, he was a pretty shit dad. And I mean, he was anyway, because he let his family get run over. And one thing I noticed as well, right, and I'm being a dick, I guess, but at the very beginning, right, the truck's barreling towards the wife and kid, right? What do they do? The fucking mother grabs the kid and holds on to her. She's like, if I'm going, fuck it. Let's go. Like, push her out of the way or something, do you know what I mean?
I know.
I don't want to go alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn up to this random. The bit that they got me turn up to this random person's house and just start digging up. There's a well under your house. Do you mind if I just fucking smash up your house?
I go on then.
And then the police, and we'll find a child's hand in there. And then the police have got to come round. Fuck, the neighbour's gonna hate me. There's all this banging going on. You're not building during sociable hours. You've got some creepy old fella puffing the tab. Like how he didn't get out of breath as he's digging up this fucking hole, smashing up this house in his own mind, and then the police turn up.
That's one thing actually. That was a nice subversion of tropes. You tend not to get any sort of police involvement. The main character was kind of under suspicion, and that was interesting, to be honest with you. And I quite like at the end, though the villain character does get his comeuppance, his comeuppance.
He seems like he's still a bit of a prick though, that politician.
Oh yeah, but it wasn't by the hand of the lead. Like, he went there to kind of get him to do whatever it was, and he sort of felt pity on him because it wasn't really that guy's fault that his dad was a dick.
They love drowning them kids.
He left. What's the third one?
He just keeps on just using the rhythm method. Boom.
But the only other thing I took away from it was I was genuinely surprised at how good it was, and that sounds rude. Like, it sounds really rude, but
no, not at all. I think it's because it's not one that gets talked about a huge amount.
Yeah,
I think it's really sort of it subverts enough genre, like enough tropes, and does things differently enough, to make it creepy and sort of affecting. And it's like, yeah, I think it's a fun film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not one I'm going to revisit all that often.
No,
It's
same.
still one that I like maybe every maybe 5 to 10 years. I'll dip back into it. It's got a nice kind of like slow burn to it. It's not like immediate. So I think it's about an hour and 40 minutes or something.
It's quite long. Yeah, I think it's an hour and 40 minutes, for hour 50 with the credits.
An hour and 47. And just sort of, I really enjoyed it. But I think it gets lumped in with like The Haunting, which I think came out in '63.
Yeah.
Also another one as well. Sentinel. There's tropes that happen within Sentinel. Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it though.
That's one that we'd maybe sort of park for later on, but it's got Meredith Burgess turns up. Yeah, he's in it, and he's really brilliant in it. He's not used a huge amount, but he's really good in it because he gets referenced in The Burbs.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, have you ever seen that movie, The Sentinel?" And it's always Corey Phil. Whoa, Sentinel.
That was a good Corey.
Yeah. Well, but that's sort of him. But yeah, it's just like, if you've seen the movie The Sentinel, which came out like I think 10 years beforehand. I think it's 1980s. Well, I could be wrong. But yeah, that's another one. But that then takes place in, I think it's New York, or LA. Oh, it came out 3 years before. So Sentinel came out in 1977. It's got a young Chris Sarandon.
Oh, sweet.
Who plays
Jerry Dandridge.
Jerry Dandridge, yeah.
Oh. I'll have to watch it.
Vampire.
I'll have to get my sister to watch it as well because she hates how much I look like him. You're welcome. But no, out of 10 found hands in a well, what would you give the film?
Children's home. I'd probably give it a 7, maybe 7.5. I think the reason being because it was so different, and I think it's so unfortunate that it gets lumped into the same year as The Shining, and I think it's different enough. It's not a man losing his mind; it's about a man who kind of
exploring his own mind in a way.
Yeah, exploring his own mind and sort of realizing that there's a hidden past everywhere, and sort of that. But yeah, I think 7.5, maybe an 8 at a push. I think obviously The Shining would probably get like a solid 10.
Oh yeah.
Just due to the attention to detail, the perfection that he's thrown into it, and the research and everything else, and the sound and everything else that happens within the course of that movie. It'd probably be a 10. So I'd say a 7.5, maybe 8. It's because I thoroughly enjoyed it, revisiting it again. And then because obviously we do our reviews, I've got a little pad and pen with me, and I'll just sit and note little bits and pieces and going, that's really clever. That reminds me of something else. So it takes me about 2.5 hours to watch a movie that's an hour and 45 minutes because I just want to stop and go, I'm going to make a little note of that. Oh, that's quite clever. Oh, that's brilliant. Or that links in with this other movie, or this little trope that then gets borrowed heavily from like every horror film like kind of since then, or more recently, but used to sort of less of a effect, etc. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I'd revisit it maybe every 5 to 10 years. Not one that I'd constantly revisit, because it's not a fun ride.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not a fun ride. It's not like,
it's not meant to be. Yeah.
No, I think that's the intention. It's like people aren't just going to chuck on Deer Hunter, are they?
Yeah.
Should we just chuck on 2001: A Space Odyssey? For a romp.
Yeah.
No. You're gonna have to strap in. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I would thoroughly recommend it for anybody else.
A good comparison. 2001 is something I'll watch maybe once every 10 years. To be honest with you, if I wanted to sit and watch it, and probably less. But when you're wanting to show somebody that movie or tell them to watch it, you'll watch it. And The Changeling for me feels like one of them films. When I tell somebody who's never heard of it, which there'll be a few, to watch it, I'll probably also watch it because I've reminded myself. But I'd give it, I agree with you. I'd give it a 7, mostly for that exactly the same reasons. I feel as though it's not scary in any way. It's just filled with intrigue, which is great.
And child murder. It's always murder and intrigue, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like whenever you watch like it's old movies. The Vikings came through and raped and pillaged. I always wanted to know. They just pillaged.
Yeah.
It's always the other one. It's like I'm referencing a comedian I love called Hannibal Buress. He says, it's trials and tribulations. Nobody ever just says I've been going through some tribulations. I've just been tribulating.
But it's always the other one. I've been through some trials, or they were raped.
I know.
It's never the other one. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those ones that it's a lot of child murder, intrigue, stuff with things. Yeah. It's a man with a piano with a recording desk,
and some
old caretakers, some tabs, a truck versus people. Truck wins.
In a shocking twist.
Turns out there's a ghost.
And it's not his wife and kid.
Yeah,
which
that's
was
what that was
interesting.
linked into. Yeah, because normally that's what you would get reference to. You'd obviously get little flashbacks as to what's happened with his family.
Yeah.
But it's more so referencing back to something that's happened in the house.
Yeah, and it sets his mind up for what the ghost wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're not even sure if the ghost had a hand in that. You clearly didn't. They were just stupid and stood in front of a truck.
I know.
But I genuinely, it's a good movie. I will definitely watch it again. But again, it'll probably be in those scenarios. It'll be like down the line or when I'm showing somebody else it. But 7, solid 7, which seems to fall in line with what the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes give it.
They're good. They're a great bunch of lads, aren't they?
They can be.
It's a great bunch of lads. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Would definitely recommend for other people to give that a go. But yeah, Russell Hunter, William Gray did the screenplay, directed by the lovely Peter Medak, who went on to direct Species 2.
Oh, nice. No.
Yeah, I think I love Species 1 because it's H.R. Geiger.
Yeah.
That did like the design for it, and I think it's in the first one he spent his own money because he wanted to have that murder death train type bit that's in the original Species.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
He spent like $100,000 of his own money because he wanted because they were like, we can't afford to make this scene where she's running away from this alien fuck train.
Oh no.
And he just spent $100,000 of his own money because he was going to get a fortune for making it anyway.
Yeah.
Taking his ideas.
It looks great. That's like one of the highlights of the movie, so I'm glad.
It's a sexual alien fuck train going after Natasha Henstridge. In a world where fuck trains don't exist, H.R. Geiger decides he's going to spend $100,000
to make them exist.
He pays them into existence. Hashtag fuck train. Hashtag alien fuck train.
That's my new nickname. But no, I want to thank you for suggesting this one. It was a good one.
What are we doing next? What's our next review?
Well, we're going to do quite a bit on the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yes, we are going to do that one, aren't we?
So I think the next episode, because what I'll do is I'll order them correctly. That's just for you, mostly co-host. I'll order them correctly. We'll probably do that Friday the 13th. I think you suggested you wanted to watch part 6.
Yeah, definitely.
Part 6. We'll watch part 6 of Friday the 13th.
Jason lives.
Is someone taking a piss out of how I speak, you bastards? know why that's funny.
I stabbed him 77 times in the face.
It was hilarious.
It looks like a lasagna with teeth.
So I put me cock in. Oh, why?
So yeah, and then all my clothes fell off. Right, I think we'll leave it there.
Just reminded me of that story. But yeah, no, thank you.
With the birdie, Sean.
Oh no. No. But yeah, no, thank you very much for suggesting this. It was honestly, it was a surprise. It was really well done.
Surprise. Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I look forward to our next dalliance, our rendezvous. Rendezvous.
Until that very merry time.
Yes, thank you very much for your attention and for us invading your ears and laying some eggs. Eggs. I've hatched eggs. We're inside your brain. But yeah, we're like the equivalent of like a podcast, but it's Catcher in the Rye. Imagine that's how they could bring it forward. Oh yeah, the podcast told me to go out and kill John Lennon, but you know what? Turns out he was already dead.
So do it. Anyone who's listening, don't desecrate.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it. And for the opposite, Your Honour, yes, we were just joking around. We were having a laugh, some japes, and we weren't actually suggesting allegedly that anybody go out and kill John Lennon or anybody with that who shares that name.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be fun.
But yeah, but thank you very much for your time. Good morning, good evening, good after, good night. Bye.
Tulu, be seeing you.
Tulu.
Mom, can I have a stomach pounder and a Coke?